Pastor Ben. I hope you're having an awesome Monday this morning. We're going to be kicking off a new study this week. We just wrapped up the book of Philippians. So if you get the chance, you can always look back through our Facebook or on our YouTube channel and rewatch all of those if you want to study the book of Philippians. If you didn't get a chance to go through it with us the first time, that's all still available for you to see. But we're going to be starting a new series this morning. So again, if this is your first time watching one of these little videos, I try to keep them under 10 minutes. And hopefully it can guide some of your own quiet time and especially your prayer time as we go through this series. So we're going to be turning our Bibles to Matthew chapter 6, starting in verse 9, and we're going to be going through the Lord's Prayer. Now, you might be pretty familiar with the Lord's Prayer. Maybe you even have it memorized. But if you don't, I want you to take a moment every morning before we dive into the video to read out the Lord's Prayer for yourself. I think these words are incredibly powerful. I don't necessarily think this is the only way that you should pray. I think there's so many different ways of praying, and I don't necessarily think there's a magical incantation to these words that will produce a automatic desired result by chanting them in the appropriate order. But I do think that there are powerful teachings here in the Lord's Prayer. There's a powerful teaching as to how we can pray when Jesus teaches us to pray through this specific prayer. So my goal for this series is that we walk through the Lord's Prayer line by line and we incorporate the elements of each line into our own prayer life. And so the first element that we need to incorporate into our prayer life this morning is the Father's character. Jesus starts off his prayer by saying, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." He takes an entire verse to pray the character of God. And I think for us too, we should take time in our own prayer life to pray the character of God. We should pray to God who he is. We should spend time in our prayer describing him. I know it's very tempting when I start to pray to immediately launch into my own needs, my own wants, my own desires, my own shortcomings, and I've automatically made the prayer all about me. So it's important that we follow Jesus' example and begin our prayer by praying the Father's character. Now, Jesus describes the Father's character in a couple different ways. He describes him as a father, and again, in a perfect and good way as God is. As a father, that is a very intimate way of knowing God. It is a God who knows the very hairs on our head, how many they are exactly. He knows us deeply. He knows everything that we do, our heart's desires. He knows what we love. He knows what we hate. He knows us and he loves us deeply the way that a good and perfect father should. But then Jesus also goes to describe that he's our Father in heaven. So please remember that this isn't just our buddy old pal God. This is the creator of the universe who holds all of the universe in his hands and makes it all work together. He is the one who is powerful to calm the storm. He is the one who's powerful enough to raise the dead. He can make things work. He makes all things work each and every day, and he doesn't even break a sweat. So this is a God who knows us deeply and intimately like a father, but is in heaven, who is the creator and maker of all things, and his name is holy. You know, there are over 20 different names of God in the Bible because when you start trying to describe God, it's difficult to stop. His infinite nature makes him indescribable. And yet, I think it's important for us to spend time in our prayer life describing God, ascribing to him the various features that we think of when we think about him. We think about possibly love, peace, healing. Describe God in your prayer. And so that's kind of the assignment that I would have for you today, this morning, in your own prayer life. Take a moment, read through the Lord's Prayer, and before you start launching into your own wants and desires in your prayer to God, spend some time praying to God his character. Describe God. Tell him who he is. And go for as long as you possibly can. Because again, once you start trying to describe God, it's very difficult to stop. He is infinite. His love knows no bounds. And so spend time in prayer to God, describing who he is, ascribing to him his character. We're going to start our next element, the next line on Wednesday, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of an update as far as what church services in May looks like then. But that's all the time we have for today. I will see you Wednesday. Bye.